everyone, this is Rebecca from Papeterie de Choix, and I'm here to begin a series. I'm not sure how long it will go, but a few weeks, I imagine, maybe even a few months. It's going to be making ephemera from books from thrift stores or that you order online, that sort of thing, and it'll lend itself to a little bit of a mass make. I actually had another book picked out, and I got this one over the weekend on Friday, and today is Tuesday. So I looked through it and I thought, this is the book I want to use to start the project. So what it is Rodale's Flower Garden Problem Solver, annuals, perennials, bulbs, and roses, and has illustrations. It's from 1990. And I'm going to jump over here to the beginning. It is full of these black and white graphics, and it's printed on, it says over here, printed in the United States on acid-free recycled paper. So it's paper that will take, it feels like newspaper almost, but a little thicker, maybe a little more concentrated. But it looks like it would take ink very well, or feels like it would. But here's what I love about it. It's A to Z, different plants, different flower garden plants that you'd find in the garden, and every few pages is the next one. And so I saw how this was lined up, and all I can see here is like tags, Botanical classic black and white tags, and some of them are prettier flowers than others, I suppose, but that's all I can see is large tags. So that's what I think that I'm going to do with the bulk of these. The other thing I like is that it has the name, so that could easily be cut out and added to whatever piece of ephemera that I do end up making with all these. They might turn out to be journaling cards as opposed to tags, but that's a botanical piece, regardless of what it is. But I won't flip through the entire book, because that would take a minute, seeing how there's... now the very back of the book is just got, like if you have problems and stuff. So the end of the actual pictures that's all about. Now if you wanted bugs, there is some bugs in the back where it talks about pests and stuff. So let's see where we are. And here we have other types of stuff, problems that you'd have in the garden. I think tulips. Yes, tulips is the last one, and that's at page 248. And so if you did want some of this other stuff, you could go through and pick out, bugs, beetles, and other little critters if you wanted some bug stuff. But I just want flower stuff. So let me keep flipping, because there's some, like I said, there's some that's prettier than others. This would also lend itself well if you did a little bit of watercolor. You could go in and put just a tad of watercolor in here just to color them up a little. I used to grow 4 o'clocks also, and they smell so good. Oh my goodness, they smell so good. So these are just classic black and white, and I think would make really, really good tags. Now, I think I'll use file folders that I'll stain with some coffee or tea as my base. But another thing I'm thinking about doing here is, once I cut it out, once I stain it up a little bit, I was thinking about decoupaging a tea bag. I have a whole little stack of tea bags here that I've kept because I took the tea out to use in my handmade paper, and so I have a stack here to do something with. And so I was thinking that some of these, maybe not all of these, but some of these might work good as just a decoupage, just to give it a little extra something, especially since these pages are quite thin. So that I'm still toying with the idea, and I might cut out some of the wording and actually just try a piece and see if I like it before I actually do something with the actual image. But I'm just loving this. I am. And this also definitely could be a mass make. So, so what I'm going to do is clear my station here and come back in just a few minutes, and we'll cut out some images and we'll figure out exactly what we're going to do with them. So I'll be back shortly. So it's been a couple of days since the first section of this video, and I went through some trial and error to see exactly what I wanted. I tried just decoupaging a piece. It's like a little sample, just decoupaging it to a piece of file folder that I'd coffee stained to see if I liked that look, and I didn't. What I was looking for was something with the waxed paper look, the see-through element. But when I tried that, and I did make a sample, but I threw it in the trash can, so I'm not going to dig that out. But anyway, when I did that, all the print from the back side of the pictures showed through backward, and I didn't like that look either. So I went back to my tea bags, and I did this little sample. I cut this little rabbit out of the book that I got all the graphics from. Put a tea bag over it. Well, the first thing I did was just do a little bit of touching, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Just touching with some coffee and tea ink on my little tray. Then put a tea bag over it, and then ink the edges with some really dark alcohol ink. And what I like about this is around the edges where the tea bag meets the file folder, it drew the ink into between those layers and just gave it to me this really pretty inked edge look that goes beyond just, you know, hitting it with a little foam rubber thing. And then just the back of it. So I like that. I like the front. It gives me the look and the texture that I was looking for with the wax. So that was my test piece. So I made 3, and I've went ahead and I tore. These are all torn. All of them, and I have touched up, and this is what I mean. I just, you know, hit them with some ink, and they're all in here. There was 55 graphics in all that I used. There was a section of annuals, perennials, and bulbs, and each one had its common name and its Latin name. But some of them were printed on the one side, and then the graphic was on the other side. So what I did was I went to my computer and printed me out. It took 1.5, 8 and 11 sheets to get all of these, and I just printed my own version of each one. So this, in this sample, this is the Latin, and this is the common name. So let me go back to this. So what I did is I did all of the whole layering process that I did here. So this stain is from a tea that I drink that is hibiscus and elderberry, and it leaves this dark maroonish plum purple stains on the tea bag. So I use that here. I want to put just a little bit of something on the tag that represents the color of the flower in each of these. So I did just a little bit of something here with a button, put their Latin name here. I have a ton of these stamps that this was a piece, I'm getting hung up and stuff. This was a piece of scrapbook paper that a friend of mine gave me a partial pad of different things. And there was one whole sheet of just these old looking stamps. And so I cut them all out and pasted them on the back in strips. So I'm cutting these out one at a time and putting on here, putting a little bit of just ink thing. But I made it a little tiny pocket, and in the pocket of the little stamp I'm putting the common name. So I'm going to make these all alike, and it's going to be sort of a mass make thing. So, but I did make 3. So this is Alyssum here, and it's just a little piece of copy paper. It's not really meant to do much. It's not like you could write that word on the other side, I suppose. And then this one is, I might have put it in too soon when the glue was still damp. Let's see if I can pull it. There it goes. This is an obviously there's 2 different kinds of asters, an annual and a perennial, and this represents the annual one there. And so that's the 3 that I've made so far, as finishes I want to make them. When I get ready to put them actually in a journal, that's when I'll put a hole and a ribbon or whatever it is that I want to put in it as far as a string. But for now they're just going into one of my little drawer systems as is until I'm ready to use them. So then after I went through and tore out all of the images, cut out all of the little names, then I cut out all of my file folder and inked those, and I didn't leave one, but I can demonstrate it, but it's really straightforward and I can actually demonstrate it. I kept one of these out to do with you so you could just see what I did. But basically, let me just move this, move that, and move these, and I'll get my tray over here, and I'll just go ahead and do one. You can see this tray is used a lot, right? So what I have here is a 3-inch paintbrush, and this is coffee ink. Now this is not coffee ink made with brewed coffee like I ink the edges of my papers with. Where did my little rabbit go? Oh, here we go. The ink that I inked the back of this with and the graphic underneath is made with this ink. But what I inked the edges with is just my straight coffee ink. I need to make some. This is made with brewed, I say brewed, but it's instant coffee. That's like 5 times strength in there. And that's what these edges are inked with. But what I'm getting ready to, or rather, these were all made with this ink. And this ink is made from coffee beans that have been ground up to release the color in alcohol, nothing else, as opposed to the brewed or, water added. So since I didn't leave one of these to do, I'll demonstrate. So I had a container with my ink and alcohol, and I just laid my blanks down. I cut them after, not before, as far as the corners go. But anyway, I just laid them down like this, and my file folders I use have a texture on one side but very smooth on the other. So the smooth sides I put down. what I would do is just spray just a little bit of tea ink on the bottom just to hold them in place, because I found that works. Then take my paintbrush dipped in my bean alcohol ink and paint the tops. And with all the splatters and this, that, and the other on the bottom, they would take up whatever. And that's what I was looking for on the back, is this grungy. Some of them are more grungy than others, but this is all the back sides of the, I love that one. This will be the back sides of the tags. So, I have to think, okay, what did I explain and what have I not? Okay, so now this is my tea ink. I'm almost out, and my husband's been drinking coffee lately, and I'm out of my own stash of just regular tea. So we're gonna make this work. I mean, there's just the one to do. So the way I do this is I just spray me down just a little bit. You don't want a puddle. You just want enough to cover a small surface. And then I take my, now this is brewed. This is the same as my edging ink, but it's got a little bit more alcohol in it. So it not bubbles, but puddles better, or makes the spots better. And I just barely press it to give me some spots. And I kind of divide my my tray into one side or the other. So this is just a plain, book page, and so I just rub down a few pieces, especially where it's a little bit more white, just to give me a little bit of grunge to start with. But I do it very lightly, because if I do it the way that I'm looking for, there won't be that much show through the back of the graphic, and or the page, and that's what I'm looking for. So here I just dot it, and see the difference in the colors. I don't want it to saturate, because I want it to be a little spotty. Sometimes I'm more successful than others, but that one turned out pretty good. And then, because it's alcohol, it will evaporate pretty quickly. So this might last 2 or 3, but it'll start getting dark at the edges. You can kind of see it here, and you can see the stains that's already left on. And so when it starts getting like that, that's really the best time to use it. I think that's as far as I want to go on that. Now, if I find that it's just a little too white in places, I'll find, because with the light I can see where I still have a little bit of wet, and I might just put it down and just give the whole thing just a light rub, just to give it a little bit of a tinge. That was a little bit more than I wanted, but you can't, well, I say you can't take it out, but actually you can. And I did this with the very first piece, whatever I did with them. You can take this to your sink and run hot water through it very carefully so that the paper does not break. But you can run hot water through it and fade this down. If you get it too dark, which is what I did with the very first one, you run it under hot water. I laid it down, tapped it dry, and just let it dry on its own until it was just barely damp, and then I hit it with my iron, because I'm one of those crafters that I use iron to dry stuff. I don't use like a heat gun or anything like that, although I have one, but I don't use it. Okay, so I'm going to dry this, I'm going to move this, I'm going to come back, and we're going to do a finished one together, finish one out. But since I have these little things cut out and I've got them layered, I'm going to be doing them in the order that I've cut them out, because otherwise I might not remember what little thing goes with which flower. So I'm going to dry this, put it in the stack, and I'll be back shortly, and we'll make one or two. So I've got the next one out here, and what I'm going to be doing first is just putting glue stick on the back, giving it a really good coverage so there's no air bubbles. And sometimes when you use glue stick like this, you have to turn it up kind of on its side, or put your head in a funny angle to make sure that you've got everything covered. And then something I like to do is, if I can get it to cooperate here, is I go around my edges with just regular PVA glue, because sometimes glue stick just has a mind of its own, and then I'll just do a little bit here. Now for me, I can center it better from the side as opposed to from the top. So, you know what, I forgot to cut my corners. 1 second, let me cut my corner and hope to goodness that it works. Going through the glue. Yay, so far so good. I thought it looked a little funny, but I just couldn't, it didn't register. Okay. Alright. Now we're ready to go. Ugh. Now I got glue all over my fingers, or my thumb rather, really. So, here. Some of these are a little longer than the other, and some of them are just a touch wider than the other, because that was just the difference in the graphic. But they're basically 3 inches wide, and now the whole tag, the base, they're all 3 by 6 1/4. That's about as good as that's going to get, I think. Okay, that's nice and flat. Now, the next thing I want to do is just find a tea bag that looks good. On the ones that are kindly sparse, I save the tea bags that's got a lot of color on them. Like this one, I don't think I'd use it on this. But it's a bachelor's button. I don't know that they make blue tea, but let's see what this one can give me. And then I just figure out kind of where I want to place it. I think I'll do that. Also, there's just a little bit of some dried grains in there, and I don't mind if they're on there, but I want them on the inside, so I always just feel to see which side is which. And let me move these and get my other little mat up here. Now, believe it or not, these are placemats, I think is what they are. I bought 2 packs of either 3 or 4 at a thrift store for, I think it was $2 a pack. And they have a matte side and a shiny side. Now, I've never used the matte side doing this, but I'm going to assume it'll all work the same. But the shiny side, you can see all the glue through here where I've already been doing this. So what I'm going to be doing right here is just decoupaging this tea bag to my tag. Bag, tag, it all sounds like, am I saying the same word? Over and over, no, it's 2 different words. And I just decoupage the whole thing, you know, what little bit of tag shows out, shows from underneath. And the one good thing about a tea bag as opposed to a napkin, napkins, they tear really easy if you get just a little bit rough with them. Tea bags are a lot more sturdy, so you can kind of press down a little bit more. But you can already see that with the staining in the background and then whatever color the tea bag has on it, it just makes, I think, for a pretty graphic. So I'm going to now move this out of the way. Now, like I said, I iron everything, so I am going to take this over to my other workstation, and the way I dry these is I press them between 2 layers of parchment paper, the baking kind of parchment paper. So I've got that dried now, and I'm just taking the scissors and trimming off the excess of the tea bag around the edges. And then I'll be inking with this, my edging ink, and I'm going to add just a little bit to it because to get this effect, your the little thing has to be a little bit juicy. So I'm going to just juice it up. It's not had any in a day or so, and that'll just help give me the effect that I'm looking for. So just go around here. This one might not be doing it as much, but it is doing it a little bit right there. So there we go. That one's really doing it there. So yeah, you can see how it just goes in. It meets the paper of the tag on the sides there, and it does absorb just a tiny bit, but mostly it just fills in the gap between your tag and the edge of the file folder. So I'm going to do this one just a little bit lighter on this side. And I see a piece that I've not trimmed as close. Okay. And some of my ink kind of disappeared too much right there. Alright, so now we're going to decorate. And let me just stick my brush back in my little bag so that it don't dry out. And put my DIY podgy stuff, glue mixture. Now, I want a button that, or not a button, a stamp that's got some blue in it. And this one right here has some blue. So we got that. Let me just hit those edges a little bit. This is underneath here, it's just copy paper that I did some, I think I coffee dyed. Now, with these, let me ink the edges of these a little bit. These little tags, names and such. And some of them, like the next one in line is the wax begonia. Look what a name it has. So I'll definitely have to cut it up to get it on the card, but this one I won't have to. It's just little. And Well, if I can hold on to something, you know, just enough ink around it. I did coffee stain, again, this is just copy paper. I did coffee stain it lightly. I didn't want to do it too dark. I just wanted to take the stark white off of it. So it's mainly just tea, with some dots of coffee, but not much. Okay, so we have that, and I have, over here is my, a little drawer. I'll have to show you my drawer system. My husband keeps saying, have you showed him yet? It's like, I've had it for a little while now. I found, I think it might have had shower curtains and such in it, way back. It's like little cubicles like they have at retail stores of whatever product they're selling. I think I'm going to use that color right there, maybe. Well, while I'll play with this, I can keep telling you. So anyway, I found two of them. I know I found one at the thrift store for $10, and I don't remember exactly where I got the other one. But anyway, it holds 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 15. It holds 15 of these little bins, wooden crates that I bought these at Walmart, and it took me like 3 years to buy them. They started out like $5 a piece, I think, and the last, I don't know, half a dozen or less that I bought were like $8 a piece, because that was during the whole lockdown thing, so everything was more expensive. But I ordered me some little pulls and put on the front of each one, and then labeled what's in it. So if I can remember, I'll just take a picture of it and put it in this section of the video. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. So let me get my glue that I forgot to get. Now, I do have some fabric glue, but the bottle is almost empty, and I find it's very runny right now, and the last thing I want to do is have runny glue on this paper. So I'm just use this, and it's very, very, I had another one that I bought and I liked it, so I bought another one, but when I cut it, I made sure that I cut it small. And so let me just put a dot, and it dries clear. So as long as it's not too gloopy, it'll all dry clear and it'll be just fine. So I'm going to put that there. My other glue bottle just fell over, is all that did. Then we're going to put this down here. Just enough glue on it to hold it down. There. Is that sort of straight? Okay. Now let's do the stamp. I could put that like that, or like that. It's pretty high though. I think I'm liking it in the middle, but not so much in the middle. Let's see how long this is. Yeah, that's going to stick out too much, so let's go down here. I'll get it figured out one of these days. Okay, that's where we're going to go with that. And so it's just going to be a little bitty pocket made from a stamp. Okay. I think I'll do it like that. Okay, I'm going to hit this with my iron because I want everything to be dry before I go on to the next one. Okay, now let's see if this will just slide in. I think my little piece of lace might be partly in the way, but oops, I broke it there on the other side. But I'm going to stick it back down. I probably should have made these out of cardstock, actually, in thinking about it. And I probably should not have glued this over top of the lace. I didn't think about that. So that's as far as it wants to go. Okay, we're moving it. And where I just pulled it up will be covered. So, and hopefully that won't be in the way. Okay, much better. Yep, that worked. And that's as far as that goes. Ow. Okay. Then I'll just take my little ink pad and I'll just go ahead and do this. I probably shouldn't be banging because it'll probably shake the camera. And I'll just stick me one of those. And we'll do this in Italy. There we go. So there's the little inky part. Now the only other thing that I have to do is just find a button and I'll probably stick it under a little bit of lace right here. Let's do this one instead. Just a little bit of lace. Let's cut that kind of around that flower a little bit and bring that away. This lace, it's hard to tell which is the back and which is the front, but the front will always have a little bit of a texture on it, so I think I got that there. Put that there. Let's use this glue. And if I do this right, I can get my button and my lace in the same little spot of glue. If I can get it to come out, I think it got just a tad too dry. Yep, it must have. Because I really had to force it a little bit. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. And now I see a button right here on the top. If I can get it without squishing it to the bottom. I don't know, I think I'm going to put just a tad more glue. Just enough to kind of make sure there's glue in those little buttonholes. And it's got a little bit of thread in it, so that makes it even better. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. I want to keep it simple, and since there's 55 of them all together, this will end up being a mass make. That'll dry clear, so that'll be fine. So like this is already dried and already clear. So so that's the project that I'm making from all of these. And the way I'll do it is I might do 8 or 10 or something like that in an evening over the course of the next week or so until I get them all done. But this is the project that I wanted to share with you, using graphics and making tags. Now, all of the books that I'll show you, I won't necessarily make the same thing out of every one. It's just this lended itself to this type of ephemera because of the space that it was in on the page. So that's what I did. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.